Sri N.R. Narayan Murthy ji, Sri Anil Shastri ji, Sri Sunil Shastri ji, other dignitaries in the audience, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I was not expected to occupy a seat on the dais and then preside over this function. I have been attending the meetings of this trust, but I have not been able to attend the functions like this organized by the trust. But this time, I thought that Mr. Narayan Murthy ji was coming here and going to deliver a speech on the fulfillment of the dreams of Sri Lal Bahadur Shastri ji. This is my third time I am meeting Mr. N.R. Narayan Murthy ji. First time I had met in the Home Ministry to discuss one issue. And second time I had met him in one of the universities where he was invited to deliver the convocation address. And the third time I am meeting him here. I had no occasion to discuss many things with him, but I have been reading a lot about what he has been doing in one of the most important fields which is developing in the world, that is electronics. And so I thought that I would be able to understand not only something about electronics, but something about the dreams of Lal Bahadur Shastri ji and as to how those dreams can be fulfilled. You will all agree that his speech was one of the most honest speeches delivered by those who are looking after big organizations in a most honest, impressive, and correct manner. It is very difficult for a person like him who has been in the industry to say that more taxes should be collected. But it is also a right thing to say that, because unless there are funds available, it is not going to be possible for any country to discharge its duties in a correct manner, to develop education, health, and research and development activities, and to develop agriculture, trade, and industry, and many other areas. He has not only expressed his views on as to how the administration should be done, but he has also expressed his views as to how the ordinary citizen should be conducting his activities in a manner which the welfare of the majority of the people in the country becomes possible. It is for these kinds of ideas that he has been respected in our country and in the world. And we are grateful that we had an opportunity to hear him and to know as to how he thinks. very rightly he has emphasized that Lal Bahadur Shastri ji was very keen to see that the education and the health issues are tackled in the correct manner in our country. That was something which was started by all those who were fighting for the freedom of the country. The first step which was taken by those who were fighting for the freedom of the country was to see that the people in India are educated. Educated in the manner in which they were educated in the past, and also in the manner as people in the advanced countries of the world are also educated. And very rightly, those who were at the helm of affairs immediately after taking the reins of government in their hands, they paid attention to education and health also. And Lal Bahadur Shastri ji was one of them, and he did want to see that the education and the health develop in the country. But unfortunately, he had not enough time to see that this could be done in a right manner. After 1962, some people felt that India is not in a position to protect its sovereignty, its territory, and its status in the world. But 1965 war, which was fought after 1962, did establish that India is a peaceful country. It is a country without hatred towards anybody. It is a country which is not afraid of any other country or any other problem which is faced or thrown up by the people who are wanting to do something dangerous and damaging to the other countries. And 1962 war was really inflicted on India, thinking that like 1962, it would not be able to protect itself. And initially, in Kashmir, the forces of our neighboring country were marching into the territory, and Indian forces were not prepared at that time to face it, thinking that that would not be done. But probably the neighbor thought that after Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Lal Bahadur Shastri would not be in a position to protect the sovereignty and integrity of the country. And so that was the right time to do it. But very rightly, Lal Bahadur Shastri ji and Yashwantrao ji Chauhan, who was the defense minister at that time, decided to withdraw the forces fighting against the opposition country's forces in Kashmir and march towards Lahore. And they did march towards Lahore and went close to Lahore. And when they went close to Lahore, and when the neighbor thought that it was possible for India to take over that city also, then they agreed to stop the fighting, to accept the ceasefire, and the things change. Lal Bahadur Shastri ji did in a short time very short time, did establish that India does not hate anybody, but India is not afraid of anybody else. And when the countries of the world thought that there should be a negotiation between the two countries and do it, Lal Bahadur Shastri ji took the steps which showed to the world that it was not India who was responsible for this kind of conflict, but it was the other side which was responsible. And it was at that time he said, Jai Jawan and Jai Kisan. Now, Jai Jawan and Jai Kisan has become a part of the history of India, and if the history of the world is written, in which the Indian history also will be written, this slogan will remain in that history also. Because all the Jawans were coming from all the Kisans' families from the villages. And they were fighting for protecting the independence and territory and sovereignty of India. We cannot remember respected Lal Bahadur Shastri ji without remembering what he had said at that time and what he had done for our country at that time. 1965 changed the situation completely. Completely it was changed. And it was a kind of visionary statement. It was probably intuitional also, but it was a visionary statement also. In order to make India free from the want, it was necessary that agriculture should be developed. We were importing food grains from outside. And it was not possible for us to provide the food grains. But it was Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, by saying Jai Jawan and by taking steps to develop agriculture, he thought that in order to make India, in order to make the poorer section of the society little more richer and more comfortable, it was necessary to develop agriculture, and agriculture could have been developed only with the help of Jai Kisan and the Kisans. That was done. Agriculture we did develop, and the development of agriculture started at that time. In 1972, when we had difficulties in Bangladesh, we were erstwhile Pakistan, East Pakistan at that time. And when the world was said that somebody should advise our neighbor to not to create problems, they did not. They said, no, you shall have to look after this thing, and if you don't behave properly, you will not be able to get the food grains. PL 480 food grains will not be available to you. And it was in 1972, taking the clue from Lal Bahadur Shastri's initiative, it was said by that government at that time, Mrs. Indira Gandhi was there at that time, that within 3 years we will make India self-sufficient in food grains. And I was one of the members of the Maharashtra Legislative Assembly at that time. And Mr. Naik was the chief minister. And he was supposed to be coming from a farmer's family. He used to look like an urban person, but he came from a rural family which was looking after them. And he said, 3 साल के अंदर हम महाराष्ट्र को फूड ग्रेन्स में सेल्फ सफिशिएंट करेंगे, इंडिया को फूड ग्रेन्स में सेल्फ सफिशिएंट बनाने के लिए मदद करेंगे. And then one of the opposition members got up at that time and said, and supposing you are not able to do that, what should we do? He said, you hang me by the nearest lamppost and you finish my life. And within 3 years, it could not be done. It was done in 5 years' time, not in 3 years' time. It took 5 years to make India self-sufficient and not depend on the imported food grains. And every time he used to come to the house, that gentleman was saying that you had agreed to be hanged by the nearest lamppost. Now please come with us. We are ready with the rope and that and all those things. But within 5 years, it did become self-sufficient. And today, people are saying that kuch bhi nahi hua, kuch bhi nahi kiya, kuch bhi nahi hua. When our population was only 30 crores, we had to import the food grains. When our population today is 125 crores, or it is nearing 130 crores, we don't have to import food grains. Probably we have problem with water, but not with food grains. And as the problem of that was solved, food grain, water problem also will be solved by us, by our country, by all of us together, government, people, everybody together. Now, this has to be remembered. The history cannot say this thing. One of the most important things, I was a student at that time when Lal Bahadur Shastri ji was a railway minister, and somewhere accident took place. Lal Bahadur Shastri ji was not driving the train. Accident took place and he tendered his resignation and came out of the government. Probably that resignation of his in India will be remembered by many ministers and many MLAs and many people in India. He was not directly responsible for it, and yet he did not say that he was responsible, that man was responsible, but he said that I take that responsibility, and he did come out of it. And that was a kind of norm established by him in doing the administration in the country, which cannot be easily forgotten. This resignation cannot be easily forgotten. If he had longer time to serve the country, probably he would have done many, many, many big things. Now he was helping trying to see that freedom from want also is there. And how do we bring about freedom from want? Freedom from want can be brought about by helping those who are working to produce more, those who are planning to produce more, those who are administrating to produce more, and those who are doing research and development to produce more. The country cannot be self-sufficient without research and development. And country cannot be self-sufficient without making all those people who are participating in the productive activities in the most honest manner. And Lal Bahadur Shastri ji would have been the best model for this kind of psychology to be developed in our country. Well, Anil Shastri ji, I'm very grateful to you for giving me an opportunity to hear one of the most honest and brilliant lectures on this topic. I have been with you in committees. I am not attending the programs like this, but probably in future I would like to attend these kinds of programs also. Thank you very much.